We are starting off the award season with my favorite action games of 2022. What games, I guess, punched the hardest? And be sure to stick around after the awards, as I'll be showing off a rare footage of me cleaning up the streets from some notorious street punks that I had to run into. Since we're going with multiple categories this year, it means that there'll be multiple games to kind of flesh out some of my other awards I've given out in previous. So for the I Could Have Been a Contender award, for the game that unfortunately I just did not get a chance to play but could have made the list, that is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. The idea of playing a Kirby Souls game fascinates me, and the brief footage I've seen makes it look like it's more of a action, like hardcore action game, or maybe action adjacent, rather than just platforming around as everyone's favorite pink overpowered marshmallow, whatever species Kirby is. Well, unfortunately, I did not play any Switch games this year, so it does not make it to the list. Alright, and for number 3 this year, that is going to go to Elden Ring. Even though I did not like the final quarter of the game, as an action RPG, and kind with its design, it still is a fantastic title. Unfortunately, I don't play open world games, so there's not going to be a best open world category. But Elden Ring, even with the faults I had with it, it definitely does more good than bad in that respect. And just the sheer spectacle of being able to just like pick a direction, look for anything that looks crazy or dangerous, and then just head on over there and get into fights and get loot and such, definitely gives it a really great feel. And with supposedly more content coming, I know they release a PvP patch or PvP arena, is going to be, I think, a tough game for anyone to try and top, and especially to see what comes next from Software, and why I am certainly excited to see them do Armored Core as their next game. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Ast Libra Revision. So for me, when it comes to the action genre, it's definitely about the moment-to-moment gameplay. And while Ast Libra is a fantastic game, there's one game that did things better. Nevertheless, it is a very solid action RPG that tried to fit as many systems as one could possibly hope for the action and action RPG genre. It's got passive trees, it's got finding new skills, it's got creating armor and weapons, and it just kept going and going and going. It is not the most, I would say, overall polished experience, and there's definitely a lot of pain points and difficulty spikes to it. But it is one of those games that you're either going to be all in on, or you're just going to probably stop playing within 10 to 20 minutes. Which, incidentally, the game features, I think, like 10 minutes of opening cutscene before you actually get started. But still, it's one of those games I would suggest anyone who likes action RPG design to try for, I would say, at least 40 minutes to an hour. If the game hasn't hooked you by then, it's not going to. But if it does, then you've got a whole lot of game to explore for how many more hours it will take you to get to the end. So with that said, number 1 for me from the action category, I think definitely highlights my thought process as to these awards. That I'm always looking for games that will do something different or push the genre in a different way or express it differently. And for that, my number 1 is going to be Goldendrome, a mix of skating, trick-based sports, and third-person shooting, or some unusual mix that should not work, but it, ironically or strangely enough, it does. This is a game where you're going to be spending your time managing spins and flips, while also active dodging, reloading, and trying to get headshots on enemies all at the same time. While it doesn't, I think, really push things in terms of being a great game to watch, it doesn't, I think, have that same level of, I think, the spectacle or, just the insanity of the sports side of things that we see from a traditional sport game, like, again, a Tony Hawk. But it's the complete package and how the game feels in your hands, which is why I'm giving it number 1 this year. This is one of those games that reminds me a lot of Webbed that we played last year, in that it features a very solid movement and kind of like that moment-to-moment gameplay that it doesn't really, I think, quite push it, or it doesn't quite challenge the player as far as you would expect. And Goldendrome did get a patch, or did get additional content added in as the post-game that I haven't gotten to yet. But if there was anything that I think kind of hurts the game, I would have liked to have seen more of a connection between the trick side and how it actually applies to combat, and especially the score. Right now, the score is simply only used as a progression gate, but would have been interesting to maybe have weapons power up if you're in a certain combo line, or weapon properties can change, or that kind of thing. But as a kind of first game in this style, Goldendrome is a fantastic title. And for anyone who's looking for a game that really handles differently than any of the action games released this year, then I highly recommend it. And I really hope the developers try to push things further in a sequel, or whatever they have next. So, with that said, that's going to take care of the action category. I have heard from people wanting me to do a top 10 list, so I guess as a bit of a spoiler alert, when this is over, I'll have, I guess, one more video for my overall top 10. It's not going to be in any, I think, order, as that would be too crazy for me to do. But be sure to tune in for that. Come back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where he's on the art and science of games. Do that, liking, subscribing, and commenting. And I regret to inform everyone that the imaginary earpiece in my ear has let me know that we unfortunately have to cut the street fighting segment. Sorry, these shows run on way too long. So, with that said, have a great rest of your day and come back tomorrow for our next award.